Hello and welcome to Chespel. Chespel is a medieval fantasy strategy game that crosses chess with deck building on unique battlefield terrains. This video is meant to be a brief introduction into what Chespel is and how to play it. Chespel is free to play without a download at chespel.com. It's available on both mobile and desktop versions. When you go to chespel.com, you'll see there's a quick start tutorial, which is a place where you can play a first guided game, and then we have the how to play, which are the written directions of Chespel. Then we have the faction breakdown, which there are 10 factions in Chespel, which are based on peoples in my fantasy world called Hailgalad. And finally, we have the battlefields. So the boards are played on battlefields, they're pitch battles, and there are 10 variants to the battlefields themselves. We'll first start off by going into the factions. Now the factions are playable and they're each set into a number of various unit types and equipment. So we'll start with an example of the Kingdom of Hailgalad. Now every faction has a general, and the general is the most important piece on the board because if the general falls, then that player loses the game. All generals have a special ability that helps to buff them and make them a stronger unit on the field. We also have lieutenants, and every faction has a lieutenant. Every faction also has artillery and 5 regular units. There are multiple of some of the units in the faction deck, which is built out of 25 cards. Then there are equipment cards which you can use to give to your regular units to buff them. So for an example, javelins you can give to the spear infantry and give them a ranged attack. Finally, you have action cards that you can play to give you a strategic advantage on a particular turn. So after the factions, which there are 10, done, we go to battlefield terrains. Now each terrain is randomly assigned to each game, and so every game you might get a different terrain, up to 10 different ones. For example, we have the Borderlands Ruined Battlefield. On this battlefield there are wayward barbarians, which are third-party units which will attack your units on the battlefield. There are also various terrain types that you can either buff your units, such as the Burned Forest, which protects you against range attacks, or the Rotten Swamp, which can impede your troops. So it gives a new flavor to every battle. Next, we'll go into the actual gameplay itself. As you can see, we have ranked match, where you can play ranked against people, where you can assemble your own deck based on all of the generals, lieutenants, and units. You build your own to see which one's the best and battle it out. Then we have the casual mode, which is standard. You can play against a computer or online with a friend. Then for game modes, we have endless survival, which is a war of attrition based on how many waves you can complete, which are against the goblin horde. Then we have fog of war, which is limited vision, hidden enemies, which gives a whole new mystery to the battle. Then we have some 4-player game modes, 2 versus 2 and 4-player, all against each other. This you can play with up to 3 friends and fill out with computer players. So if you only have 2 friends and want to fill the 4th out with a computer, you can do that. So these are the additional game modes. We'll go with the casual 1 versus 1. So you can pick a random faction, or you can choose a faction. All factions are present here. As you can see, that it gives you the breakdown. So we have the general, the lieutenant, the artillery, the units, as well as 6 action cards and 6 equipment cards for a 25-card deck. We'll go with the Ironwood Kindred, and then you press deploy. And here's the board. And so you have your development line here, where you can, before the game starts, you can move your troops around for any particular reason. We are in the Valley of Giants, and so you can see there are a number of different terrains here. So you can see the Bone Graveyard, You can scavenge weapons and get an attack and defense buff on that square. There's the old overlook, otherwise mountains too, to impede you from moving forward. So once you have your troops aligned on the bottom here, you can press play. And then there's also a dynamic. The dynamic hazard here is there's an avalanche that are next to mountains that people can take, the units take damage. So here's the basic turn order. So once it's your turn, you can you play a card, and so here we'll play a common unit. So you can deploy units up to the row where the general is. So you can see I played one here, and then we move a unit. So you click, and I can move the unit here. So I'm moving the general upwards, and then you attack. But there's no one in my range. You see I have a range of 1, so there's no one adjacent to me. You cannot attack diagonally. So you'll end your turn. The computer will then take their turn. And now the computer is attacked. So you can see the rolls. So you'll roll a d4 die, and then it's d4. You roll d4 plus your attack, and then roll a d4 plus your defense. So you can see I took damage here. So I have 3 or 4 health. Here I can play an action card, so I can play 2 additional cards. So then what I can do is I can place a unit down, and then I can give him armor. And then I can come forward here and then attack. And it'll give you the combat odds of what your base attack, what their base defense is. And you roll it out. It's a tie, so nothing happens. The computer will go again and play, and then you can see there's another hit. We'll play an offensive rallies to give our people some extra attack. And so we'll come here and attack. Oh, there's a hit. We'll bring in our infantry or cavalry. We'll move some more units over. Now the interesting thing to see is, since we're flanking, since we have units on both sides, we get a +1 attack for the flank. And so this is, maneuverability is very important in the battlefield. And then more likely than not, we'll lose on this turn, because our general will be attacked and might not survive. And there we go. We lost our general. And there's defeat. This, in a nutshell, is Chespel. I hope that you enjoy playing, and please give any and all feedback. Constantly looking to upgrade the game and make it more user-friendly and fun. So that's all I have today. Thank you very much for watching, and see you out there on the battlefield.